If you have been bench pressing for months or even years and your numbers have not moved, if you feel stuck at the same weight while everyone around you seems to be loading plates effortlessly, and if your chest still looks underdeveloped despite all that pressing, then this video is going to tell you the exact mechanical, neurological, and psychological reasons your bench press is weak. Because a weak bench press is almost never a strength problem in the traditional sense. It is a technique problem, a nervous system problem, and a psychological problem layered on top of each other in a way that makes the bar feel heavier than it actually needs to be. And fixing all three layers simultaneously is going to add more weight to your bench in the next 8 weeks than you have added in the past year of doing what you have been doing. The first and most immediately impactful reason your bench press is weak is that you are not using your entire body to press. You are using only your chest, shoulders, and triceps, which is a fundamental misunderstanding of what the bench press is as a movement. The bench press, when performed by strong pressers, is a full body movement where leg drive, glute activation, upper back tightness, scapular retraction, and a stable arch all contribute to force production. And research on powerlifting technique confirms that a properly set up bench press with full leg drive and upper back engagement can increase maximal pressing force by 10 to 15% compared to the same lifter pressing with a passive lower body and a flat, unretracted upper back. 10 to 15% more weight from nothing but using your body correctly, which for someone stuck at 100 kilograms represents 10 to 15 kilograms of immediate potential that is currently being left on the bench because of a setup error. Before you unrack the bar, your feet should be driving hard into the floor, creating full leg tension. Your glutes should be squeezed and your hips slightly bridged to create a natural arch in your lower back that shortens the range of motion and preloads your pressing chain. Your shoulder blades should be actively retracted and depressed, pulled together and down to create a stable, high platform for your upper back that prevents your shoulders from rolling forward under load and simultaneously pre-activates the muscles of your upper back that contribute to pressing stability, and your hands should be gripping the bar with maximum force because research on irradiation in motor neuroscience shows that maximal grip force radiates neural activation outward through the kinetic chain, increasing motor unit recruitment in the shoulders and chest. Squeezing the bar as hard as possible is not a minor cue, it is a neurological trigger that measurably increases pressing force. The second reason your bench press is weak is the bar path you are using, and this is the technical error that is simultaneously reducing your mechanical efficiency and increasing your injury risk every single time you press. Most people press the bar in a straight vertical line, directly up and down from the chest, which feels intuitive, but is actually the least mechanically efficient path for the human shoulder and elbow joint structure, because it places the bar at maximum distance from your shoulder joint throughout the entire movement, creating a long moment arm that requires your anterior deltoid to work excessively and your pecs to work inefficiently. The optimal bar path in bench pressing follows a slight diagonal. The bar should touch your lower chest or sternum area, approximately 1 to 3 inches below your nipples, and as you press it, should travel slightly back toward your face so that at full lockout, the bar is positioned roughly over your shoulder joint, and this diagonal path shortens the effective moment arm at the shoulder, shifts more of the load onto the pectoral fibers, which are biomechanically better suited to handle it, and reduces the anterior deltoid strain that causes shoulder impingement in chronic bench pressers who press in a straight vertical line. A biomechanical analysis of elite bench pressers versus recreational lifters published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research found that elite pressers universally use this diagonal bar path, while recreational lifters predominantly pressed vertically, and the difference in mechanical efficiency between these two paths accounted for a significant portion of the performance gap between groups independent of absolute strength levels. The third reason your bench press is weak is neurological, and it connects to a concept called rate of force development. Your muscle's ability to recruit motor units rapidly and produce force quickly, which is trainable and which deteriorates when you always train at the same slow, controlled tempo in the same moderate rep range. Research on neuromuscular adaptations to explosive training by Beam and Sale at Memorial University showed that incorporating intentional compensatory acceleration, the practice of attempting to move a sub-maximal weight as explosively as possible on the concentric phase, even though the weight itself moves slowly, produces significant improvements in rate of force development and maximal strength that slow, controlled pressing alone does not generate, because the neural adaptations driving maximal strength are specific to high-velocity, high-force motor unit recruitment patterns that are only trained when you deliberately attempt to move the bar as fast as possible regardless of load. Implement one session per week where you use 60 to 70% of your maximum and press with absolute maximum intent and speed on every concentric rep, keeping the eccentric controlled and the setup perfect. And within 4 to 6 weeks, your nervous system will have developed the rapid motor unit recruitment patterns that translate directly into heavier, maximal lifts on your regular training days. The fourth reason is psychological, and it is the most underestimated performance limiter in all of strength training. It is the self-limiting belief embedded in what psychologists call your performance identity, the unconscious mental model you carry about what weights your body is capable of lifting, and research on the psychology of strength performance shows that perceived exertion and self-efficacy beliefs predict maximal strength performance independently of actual physiological capacity, meaning two people with identical muscle mass and neural capacity can produce different maximal bench press results based purely on the confidence and identity beliefs they bring to the bar. The practical application of this psychological principle is a technique called working above your comfort weight in training. Regularly handling weights in the 90 to 100% range, even for single reps or partial movements like board presses or pin presses, where the range of motion is reduced to a mechanically advantageous portion of the lift, because exposure to heavy loads recalibrates your nervous system's threat response to those weights and progressively expands the upper boundary of what your performance identity considers achievable. Fix your setup with full leg drive and scapular retraction. Correct your bar path to the diagonal that elite pressers use. Train rate of force development with speed work. Expand your performance identity through heavy exposure training, and your bench press will move forward in a way that finally matches the effort you have been putting into it.